Welcome back to Dry Hollow Homestead. It's Danielle again, and these are some of our pantry challenge meals from the past week. I went ahead and gave these a rinse and then pushed them up on the side, and let me show you. You can already see that they're starting to sprout. So this is only day 2. So yesterday was the first day out like this. We had soaked them overnight, and then this is day 2 where they have been spread out and they've already started to sprout. We'll give it a little bit longer, a couple more days. I'll show you whenever it's time to dehydrate them. So this evening is date night for my husband and I. I have to go out and milk, and making dinner for the kids that are staying here. This is just the tortellini from Costco. I didn't buy this today, but this I bought a couple weeks ago, probably months ago actually. I love having these things in the freezer for evenings like this when I'm not really caring to cook, but people need food. And this is like 80 ounces. I don't know, how much is that? 5 pounds? 4 pounds? 5 pounds of food. When they go on coupon and they're like $8, I always grab them up. They're great for side, or if you have people coming over unexpectedly and you need to throw together a larger meal than you were expecting. I love having that in the freezer. And then we also had just picked this up at Costco today, so I'm going to make half of it, this one bag, into a little salad. So they'll have pasta and salad. And I don't know if you know this, most people do, but I didn't until I heard someone say, when you're boiling water for pasta, add a little olive oil. I usually use avocado oil just because that's what I have in that little container right there. So it's always easy to put in. And then put that on the surface so they don't stick together while you're boiling your water. Put that olive oil or avocado oil in there with it. Then definitely salt your water, right? So we are just now at a point in our lives with our children's ages and stages, I guess. Now, sorry, they're playing the Switch. That actually mean that we get to go out. So our oldest is 18, but he's male, right? Our youngest is a little girl, so she's 4.5. So even though we probably could have went out and let him babysit many years ago, we preferred to not put any kind of expectation on him to change diapers or help use the restroom, especially because his youngest was a little girl and he was completely uncomfortable with that. So we are just now getting to the stage where we go out, and I'm so thankful. We have years and years of date nights to make up. We spent years without going out to eat or out alone. We've still only spent one night away from our kids together, so maybe we'll work on that sometime, but we're extremely thankful. And one of the ways that I get it to where my kids actually want us to go is that we save stuff like the Switch or movie night for when we're not home. So normally they would not be doing this right now, but because we are about to leave, they are having their Switch night, and they're going to be able to watch a movie, and they will probably do popcorn because brother's fun and he always makes popcorn. I'll show you what Daisy's playing with. Yeah, they're starting to sprout. Do you see the seeds opening? Yeah. And we shouldn't really touch them though. We need to let them be so they can grow a little bit before we grind it up and eat it. They're a bowl of oatmeal for breakfast. I'm having a quick snack of a chia seed pudding, and what I do to make it delicious is add some Lily's chocolate and some peanut butter, and it's good. The kids are eating some eggs with some cheese and caramelized onions for breakfast, and they are enjoying it. We eat eggs all the time. Our grains have definitely sprouted. I actually think I let them go just a little bit too long. But we are also hard boiling a bunch of those double yolked eggs that we were gifted. And then this is another day. This is actually creamed eggs. So those hard boiled eggs I chopped up, and I melted butter in a pan and put 2 tablespoons of flour and then milk. So you kind of make like an egg gravy. Definitely put salt and pepper. This is something that my husband's mother would make for him whenever he was sick. It's called creamed eggs, so give it a try sometime. We actually had some more biscuits, so we actually poured it on top of the biscuits. And my children love creamed eggs. So they are all giving a thumbs up or happy to eat them. And I wanted to give you an update on these daggone goldfish. Now, we put these in, I think it was August. We put 10 in our goldfish, in our water trough outside, and we have 5 still. And this is January, and we've only had to clean the water tank out 3 times. We just cleaned it out. And I am starting some mozzarella on this day. I think I did a 3-gallon pot of mozzarella because we had used up the last in our previous video. And this was a so uninspiring dinner. This is just chopped up ground beef with onions and cans of corn and green beans. But we did have some fruit. My husband bought some fruit, and we had fruit with that lunch. And then this was dinner. I do this sometimes. This is my cop-out dinner. Popcorn, fruit, and milk kefir smoothies. Next day, we are having fried eggs and oatmeal. We have oatmeal quite often. We also have those hard-boiled eggs. One of my children is really loves oatmeal, and he makes it and just makes a big pot. So I'm thankful that my kids know how to do some food on their own. This is a crazy recipe. I think you should give it a try. I know it sounds really weird, but it's delicious. There are 10 hard-boiled eggs in my Vitamix. You add a whole can of coconut milk and cinnamon. I have a stevia glycerate, whatever, cocoa powder, and vanilla and salt. That is all that needs to go in here. This coconut milk I had in my cabinet for a really long time, so I smelled it, and it smells fine. And the date was, in 3 years, so whatever. I guess they don't ever go bad. So you add that to your Vitamix, and you definitely need to have a high-powered mixer. Do not do this in a low-power mixer. It's not going to do very well. So I add pure stevia. I do that is a Walmart thing. That is a 1/2 cup of that stevia, about 2 teaspoons of the stevia glycerate. I don't know how to say that. A 1/4 cup of cocoa powder, and then a tablespoon of vanilla and a couple sprinkles of cinnamon, and then 2 pinches of salt. Now this is delicious. I know it looks like it would be gross, but you go ahead and blend that until it is completely pulverized, that there is no pieces of eggs. Hard-boiled eggs, there should be completely smooth when you are done. That's why I don't think you could do this with a low-quality mixer or blender. This is what it looks like. Right away it smells a little eggy. So put it in a container and put it in the fridge. After about 2 to 3 hours, there is no egg smell. All it smells like is chocolate and coconut. And this is actually dairy-free, so if you have anybody with dairy-free allergies. I definitely went ahead and started dehydrating our grains that we had sprouted. I think I went a little bit too hard on the sprouting. Next time I wouldn't let it sprout so long. But I have a cameraman, Josiah, showing you where I keep my dehydrator. I have a very small kitchen, so I try to fit all my stuff in wherever I can. But dehydrator is important. So I'm starting dinner this evening. I'm making homemade mayonnaise, and I can link a short on how I do that. It's very simple. I just add 1 egg, 2 teaspoons of lemon juice, a sprinkle of ground mustard, and then I use avocado oil for mine, and then salt and pepper. So I usually get all those ingredients up to 1 cup and then blend with my immersion blender. I'm actually making a copycat of Big Mac's sauce, like secret sauce. So I use that mayonnaise that I made. I'm adding some homemade yogurt, a couple tablespoons of ketchup, and then I'm using Frank's Red Hot sauce right now, but it's better with sriracha, but we're out. And then dill relish, that's what that is, and I just used what I had left. There's no exact measurements for this. The recipe is from Trimpy Healthy Mama, kind of, but I don't really go by it a whole lot. I do add a tiny bit of sweetener there. Like I said, I get that Pure brand at Walmart. It's pretty cost effective. It's not nearly as expensive as some of the others. So I mix it in as best I can, and this is absolutely delicious. This makes the whole dinner. We do what's called a Big Mac salad, which is ground beef that is, sauteed, browned, and some words some days, with also some onions, some onions that we saute until they are translucent in butter. So I use, anytime I'm doing anything with onions, I like to use this Vidalia Wizard. I can link that in the description box. But that really helps. And doing it one hand was not really very good. I wasn't very good at doing it with one hand. But I had those chopped up. I put homemade butter in my smaller Le Creuset. And then I did my ground beef. I always add paprika to my ground beef for this recipe. Paprika and salt, pepper, and a little bit of bone broth and oyster sour sauce. Put that on top of lettuce. And we have homemade cheese in there. And then that sauce that we made. I usually have pickles and tomatoes, all kinds of other stuff, but we're on a pantry challenge. So this is our hard-boiled egg pudding. It was delicious. I just wanted to show you the consistency. So this is the next morning now, and we have more eggs. I washed these. We had found a clutch, and I had to make sure they were good by floating them. So I washed up the ones that I had floated, melting some butter, and we are actually going to make a Dutch baby. I think I put 10 eggs. It was either 10 or 12. I'm not sure. 2 cups of flour, quite a bit of milk. It's just, I don't know. I don't measure a whole lot. And then salt. That's all I do for this Dutch baby. I think it's about 2 cups of milk, 2 cups of flour, and 5 or 12 eggs. I really don't know. I blend everything up in my mixer. Not mixer. This is my Vitamix. I use my Vitamix all the time. I really do. Multiple times a day. I love my Vitamix. And I just mix it till it is incorporated. And that cast iron pan that had the butter in it, we actually put that in the oven to melt that butter before we put our Dutch baby egg solution, whatever mixture in it. And then we're going to put it back in the oven. I don't know how long. I think it was like 15 to 20 minutes. Pretty sure. I'm so sorry. Oh, I made a mess here. And I kept it in because this is the reality of me. And when I'm doing things in the kitchen, yeah, I had it cleaned up in a matter of no time at all. But yes, that is why my oven is a mess in the bottom. Because that kind of stuff happens. I do that stuff all the time. So I cleaned it up. But while that was in the oven, I also went ahead and did my milk kefir smoothies. I have a video on this, but I do this every day. And this is what it looks like whenever it is doing its first ferment with the kefir grains. And then I'm also going to start my second ferment. Yes, they're with blueberries. I get these at Costco. The organic blueberries, they are so cheap compared to picking your own. I'm not going to do that again. So this is the already first fermented, and this is my most organized spot in my whole kitchen, my drawer with my lids, because when you have a milk cow and you have like a million jars and lids, they can be chaotic. And my kitchen was not made yesterday. It's not very organized and practical. This is our Dutch baby when it came out of the oven. It was beautiful. The children ate that up a lot. Okay, so that was baobab, I believe is how you say that, powder. It's really high in vitamin C and lots of other minerals. And I put that in my milk kefir smoothie, a cup of that. That was my part of my breakfast. So I was showing you that. I don't really know why, I just thought I would. I put powdered sugar on top of this. Dutch baby, that's what brings all the kids into the kitchen for it. And some of those blackberries from the freezer. Blueberries, not blackberries. And there is no stickage. I love cast iron. I know some people haven't quite gotten the hang of using it, but I love cast iron. You can't put that in the oven. It's a handmade leather handle from a local shop, but it does, it kind of protects it. Once you bring it out, you can put it on there and it won't burn you. But I'm telling you about it, but I didn't talk because I didn't keep my voice in because there was loud noises in the back. I love both my Le Creuset skillets because I use cast iron anyway, and just it brings a little bit of beauty into my kitchen. With such a small kitchen, I don't have room for decoration, but if I have pieces that are beautiful and bring me joy, I really appreciate that. So this is my sourdough. I pulled it out at 11 o'clock out of my fridge, fed it, and now I'm going to let it sit on the counter for a few minutes. No discard. So these are the dehydrated berries, grains that we had started the day before. I let it go just about 12 hours and then turned the dehydrator off. And then I'm going to grind these. Make sure you push it back until it says yes, because if you forget, which I do all the time, it'll make a big mess. So I'm going to go ahead and grind up quite a bit of grains. While I have my Nutri-Mill out, I'm going to go ahead and do that. So these were the sprouted grains. And then I also do some of my just whole grains. And it is working. It doesn't really look like it there. I'm actually going to have to, move it around a little bit. So, I let this sprout a little too long, but it made great flour. There it is. Now, you want to, when you grind, go ahead and freeze if you're not going to use within the first couple days, because it will lose its nutritional value and it will also go rancid very quickly. So, I made a couple bags of each. Okay, I'm beginning my sourdough recipe that is on my website and also on my YouTube videos. So I'll try to link a video here, but 1,000 grams of water and then 400 grams of sourdough starter. This is that starter that I had fed earlier. That is what is left. So I will feed it, let it rise, and then I'll put it back in the fridge. I will not discard anything. And so just like this morning, I had gotten it out of the fridge, fed it, and used it. Now, I will not have to worry about throwing anything away. So you can tell that this is the perfect timing for the sourdough starter to go in. When it floats like this, you know that it is at its peak of its fermentation. So this is the perfect time. This is a great time to do it. But that just happened. I got it out of the fridge at 11 a.m. I didn't have probably about half this container of sourdough starter in there, so I had to feed it because I wanted to make some that I knew would take 400 grams would take almost my whole container. So I went ahead and fed it, let it rise, and within 4 hours I was ready to use it to make my sourdough bread. This makes 4 loaves, and today I'm going to actually do a couple cups of whole wheat flour because I already ground that a little bit ago. So I'm going to use whole wheat flour and all-purpose flour. And if I'm going to use sourdough, I don't mind doing the whole wheat. I like sourdough to be a combination of the two, but if I'm going to do a quick bread, like something that's yeasted, I would like to use that sprouted grain that I made into flour before I use the regular all-purpose or whole wheat. So at this point, I'm going to whisk it together with my, I really need to hold still, right? I'm going to whisk it with my Danish dough whisk, and then I'm going to start adding my flour. For this, I think I put 10 or 11. I'll have to put it in the description box. I actually reference my my own website a lot because unless I do this 2 or 3 times a week, I don't trust my brain. I'm not always good at that. So I'm going to add my flour, and then we're going to let this auto-lease without the salt. Before we add the salt, we're going to give it an hour without the salt mixed in. And then we're going to add the salt, which is 40 grams of salt. And then we have a lot of other steps too. Okay, so dinner tonight was leftovers from dinner last night, which was that Big Mac salad. We finished that up. I decided that we would make brownies, delicious brownies, and ice cream for dessert because that pudding, that hard-boiled egg pudding, is completely gone. The kids devoured it. So that was delicious. So I have in here 4 egg yolks, just the yolks. I'm saving the whites to do something else. And then I have in here actually stevia and monk fruit blend and a little bit of glycerate. Let me see what it is. It's better than stevia glycerite. Better stevia. It's just kind of like a honey consistency. So this will be a sugar-free, but I don't have a whole lot of cream, so I'm going to have to pull the cream off a couple jugs of milk to make this. But how I start my vanilla is to go ahead and blend the sugar or whatever you're using, the sweetener, with your egg yolks until they're light and fluffy. This actually makes it a very high in protein ice cream. So it is kind of like a health food, you know? Okay, so I'm going to add the vanilla, which is going to be about how much? I don't know. Tablespoon and a half. I don't know. This is going to make 2 quarts. And then I'm going to definitely add some salt, about 2 sprinkles of salt. Definitely add salt when you're making ice cream because it brings out that sweetness. And now I'm going to ladle off some cream. I will put a cream up to about 3 cups, and then I'll put just regular milk up to 6 cups. Now that I have all my ingredients in the Vitamix, I'm just going to turn it on and let it just kind of incorporate just a little bit more. I'm not really going to go real hard in. I just want to get all the egg and sugar sweetener off the side. So when I make ice cream, I have the Cuisinart 2-quart freezer yogurt server and ice cream maker. But you actually keep the insert in your freezer, and then that's all you need is the insert. It's got a little paddle in it, and then you turn it on. So you don't have to have like the rock salt or the ice. I don't even remember what all the other things were. We've never had another ice cream maker, and I love this one. And we've had this probably 3 years ago now. I bought this, and it was the best investment. We make ice cream probably 2 or 3 times a week. That was even before we had a milk cow. So now that we've had our milk cow, I'm so thankful to have this, because when you are putting your raw eggs, your raw milk, your raw cream, your homemade vanilla, your sweetener of choice, whatever that is for you, it is a health food. This isn't junk food. This is a health food. And my favorite dessert, probably of all time, is warm brownies. And these are Ghirardelli brownies. We get the mix from Costco, and they're not a health food, but they are the best brownies in the world. But that's the very last of our mix too. And then I have warm brownies, and then put homemade ice cream on top. Oh my gosh, cold ice cream and the warm brownies, it's my favorite. So I put this in my machine, and then I put the paddle in and turn it on, and then I go ahead and pour my mixture, ice cream mixture in. So I will show you that. All right, so I just mix it all in within my Vitamix, just because I use my Vitamix for everything, and it's on my counter at all times. So look how creamy yellow that is. That's just from the home-grown eggs, farm fresh eggs. And then this takes 25 minutes. If you want to add like chocolate chips or fruit or nuts or anything, you would do that after 20 minutes and keep letting it do its thing for 25 minutes. It is not quiet. I say that's probably my only complaint. It's pretty loud, but it's good ice cream. Timer just went off. We turned the ice cream maker back off, and this is what we have. Beautiful vanilla. Yum. So I always go ahead and take the what do you call it, like ice cream paddle out, because if you do not, it will freeze. And I go ahead and take the insert and set it on the counter, and then I am serving up our brownies and ice cream. And this is the best brownies in the world. It's Ghirardelli. I wish I could make my homemade brownies taste that good, but every now and then we buy Costco's when they go on coupon, the Ghirardellis, and we just keep them on hand for Mom, mostly because I think this is my favorite dessert in the world. I would definitely link below in the description box my Cuisinart, whatever, ice cream maker. It has increased in price, but it is still a great investment for your kitchen if you like to make your own homemade things, and save a lot of money compared to buying store-bought ice cream, especially if you want all the health benefits that is in this ice cream. I also purchased these a few years ago, Trivolo, I think it was. They're like ice cream, you know, quart size ice cream containers that you put in the freezer. And I got 3 different ones so that I would be able to, you know, keep track of what different flavors that I wanted. So this makes 2 quarts. So if I took that out and put it, able to fill up 2 of those. But a family our size can eat 2 quarts in one evening in one setting, no problem. So I actually thought for the longest time that I would purchase a second insert so that I could make one right after the other. Because you would need to refreeze this before you make another batch. We have tried to, have a batch ready, get this out and put another ice cream, whatever, mixture in, and start another one, and it did not firm up. So you need 2 of these to actually be, enough for extra for your family. But if you, plan ahead, you can make this during the day, freeze some, and then make another in the evening and get out the ones that are in the freezer. But I never think that far ahead, so I haven't done that. But the reason I didn't get a second insert was because they used to be $20, then they went up to $30. Now I think they're even like $40 for the insert, so we're just gonna keep it. And you definitely don't want to scratch the sides because this is not stainless steel by itself. It's got some kind of coating on it, so definitely use something that is not going to scratch it so you don't leak any of that gross stuff in your ice cream. But yeah, here is the texture. I'm trying to look in my camera. It is good, delicious. Okay, next morning we are having some whole wheat pancakes. This mix is that whole wheat that I ground and put in the freezer. I do 3 cups of the whole wheat, and then I do 2 teaspoons of baking soda, 2 teaspoons of baking powder, 1 teaspoon of sea salt, and then 4 teaspoons of sugar. Yep, I did that all in my brain right now without it in front of me. So I whisk those ingredients. That is all the dry ingredients, and I whisk them together. And then to this, we add 4 eggs. So I whisk that all together. And then we're going to add 4 eggs and some buttermilk and oil. So I will go ahead and make a bunch of these this dry ingredients, the whole wheat pancake dry ingredients, up in a bag and keep them in the freezer. I used to do this years ago. It's been a long time, but I did 4 eggs in there. Let me talk this all the way through sometimes. I forget what I was saying. Buttermilk is the only thing that goes back and forth. Like, I gauge it by the texture. Buttermilk for me is very thick, but if you're using store-bought buttermilk, it is not going to be near as thick as mine, so you're going to not need as much. You'll just use less. And so that's the only thing that's kind of like a sliding scale for me. So I do 4 eggs and then 2/3 a cup of oil. I use avocado oil, or if you want to melt some coconut oil, you can do that too. Olive oil even. Just don't use crappy oil, guys. Let's keep it clean. And then I go back and decide if I need to add more buttermilk or less buttermilk. I think my ingredients or my directions will probably be about 3 cups of buttermilk, but for me, I ended up using this whole quart, which I love doing. I don't really like to leave a little bit in anyway, so that looked great. And my buttermilk always has the same texture. My homemade does. So I know that next time I can just use 1 whole quart for each bag of mix that I made and put in the freezer. So I use my cast irons like always. I melted coconut oil on them, and I turn up my heat to medium heat. Anytime I'm using my cast irons, I go ahead and preheat them to medium heat and make sure that they're good and piping hot. Good. And then I'm scooping my mix out and making pancakes. When my kids were little, we used to make little pancakes, lots of little pancakes, and then I would make a mommy pancake on the side. And that was big, but now my kids are getting older, so I can make bigger ones. And this was the first batch. Usually they come out kind of crappy looking, the first batch, but no. So I made that pancake mix. I will keep them in the freezer, and I wrote on them how much to to add in the eggs, the oil, and the buttermilk. And now I have 3 more breakfasts that even my kids could even start for me. And I smother mine in homemade butter, obviously. It's delicious, and maple syrup. So I got 6 gallons in my cheese pot here, and I am going to make this into an Asiago because butter is my favorite. Asiago, you pull most of the cream off to make it. So I have 6 gallons in here, and what I'm going to do to actually make this cheese, to culture this cheese, is yogurt whey. I'm going to use 1 cup of yogurt whey, from when, you know, I make yogurt, and then I always make Greek yogurt and strain off the whey. I save that whey and use it as a thermophilic culture, and that is what I'm going to do with this. 1 cup will be the next step. I always have like little cheat sheet notes there. And then I'm starting these for lunch. We have some salad in the fridge, and these are still from in the freezer. I think this is the last of these chicken tender things that we got somewhere sometime. But this is my Pampered Chef stoneware. I love stoneware. I don't have very many pieces, but this got broken, and I'm still using it, you know, just live on the edge. I'm gonna put those in the oven and make up like chicken tenders or chicken strips on a salad, and that'll be lunch. We have thawed out some steak for dinner, so I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with that yet. Maybe some kind of like hibachi steak with rice and veggies. We'll see. Okay, so the kids are making themselves a little salad: hard-boiled eggs, lettuce, and that kale salad we had in the fridge, and some crispy chicken tenders on top of that. But hold on a second. We needed some kind of dressing. I don't really have any dressing, so I made a quick ranch with, I had yogurt, buttermilk, regular milk, and no mayonnaise because we used that all. And then ranch powder that I do ranch seasoning in another container, and then I mix it in, and that is what it looks like. And the kids think it's good. I haven't tried it yet, but they are making their own little lunch. So that is our lunch today. So this was dinner. It was lots of freezer things from Costco, the dumplings and the egg rolls, brown rice, and then hibachi steak. Thank you guys so much for coming along with me in my kitchen and making up a few of our meals. Let me know if you have any questions. I will try and write out the recipe for the protein dairy-free chocolate pudding in the description box. Also, what else did I make in this video that's new? Oh, ice cream. I'll put that in the description box too. I think that's it. If you have any other questions or want to know how I made anything else, please talk to me in the comments below, and I will talk to you again later. Bye. God bless, and I speak Jesus over you.